Hi and welcome to the Happy Gaijin. Another reaction here. This one is going to be a long one, so get your popcorn and get ready to see what my commentary is going to be about. This one, Japan, that will blow your mind, the weirdest modern country by Anton somewhere. I have to say that I love it when people put weird in the title of a Japan related video, because it'll just be interesting to see what they consider weird. Let's find out. Anyway, let's get started. All right. Okay, first off the bat, the filming and editing already is superb in the first few seconds. The sound choice, I'm already liking this. So just wanted to say that. Years ago I made a rule to never come back, but each rule has its exception. Yes, it's very hard to go to Japan and not return. You'll find a lot of people go to Japan and they return because it's that kind of country. My exception is called Japan. I have a bandana like that. Yeah, I totally get it, dude.
Damn, my glasses are fogging up. Could have been a decent intro.
Oh, so this guy, I guess this guy is like Russian and it's dubbed in English, which is interesting because we'll get a perspective of you know, from another country. So all right, I once used this music in a video a few years back, and it had like a copyright strike. So hopefully it won't happen this time.
Konnichiwa guys, we're in a country you can always come back to and always discover something new. It is crazy.
So true. You can return over and over and over and over again, and you'll always find something different to see.
Insane and just out of this world. In this big episode we're going to take a run around modern Tokyo, check out local hipsters, enjoy the smell of the blooming sakura.
Okay, so quite a packed video. By the way, this video is about 6 or 7 months old, so not too old. So I'm guessing this happened around the Sakura season of 2023.
See
my
things
guess.
that are bizarre and totally Japanese.
Bizarre
We're going to
and
see
totally
Mount
Japanese.
Fuji, cloudless Mount Fuji, marvelous
Wow.
music roads, and the creepy suicide forest. Of course.
I don't understand the fascination or the obsession that some people have going to the suicide forest. I've never been. It's not somewhere that I am remotely interested in visiting, to be honest. But I know that some people keep on, when some of my friends are like, have you been to the suicide forest? No, I haven't.
First, we'll make a quick trip to Kyoto to check out local temples and traditional Japan. Basically, there's gonna be a lot of things. As the saying goes,
A lot,
let's
yeah, I
get
see
ready.
that. So I've just discovered that he's from Ukraine. Hopefully everything is okay.
First must see in Japan is, of course, the capital.
This is very cool. This is very cool. I really like the way it's been shot.
It's my third time in Tokyo, but in this city, each time feels like the first.
It's true. He says it's the third time. It's the 22nd time or whatever in Japan. Most probably like the 40th or 50th time in Tokyo that I've been to Tokyo. And it's so true. Every time I go, I do feel like it's the first time in some ways. Except for I do tend to now go to the same areas or stay in the same area. So things feel a little bit more familiar.
Tokyo is the world's largest urban agglomeration. To get to another municipality, you just need to walk across the street. More than 35 million people live in this huge ant colony. So
yeah, it's quite mad, the amount of people that live in Tokyo. But the funny thing is that sometimes it doesn't feel like more populated than some other major cities like London and Paris or New York, for example.
The population here is pretty damn big.
Right, very cool, very cool. All of these sites I've been to.
But apart from crowded streets, there is another fact about Japan we should consider. Most streets in Japan don't have names.
Oh yeah, a lot of streets in Japan don't have straight names, they just have numbers, which generally doesn't really bother me because I just use Google Maps, Google Navigation to get around. But I guess that if you are going off an address on a piece of paper, it might be a problem.
House numbers are assigned chaotically, usually according to the date of when it was built. So
Yeah.
you can navigate through the city, but only with an online map. Traveling around the city by car in these conditions is pretty challenging. That's why we're using the fastest and most reliable way, public transport. The first thing
Yeah, public transportation, definitely something you need to get to grips with the very first day, the very first moment you get to Tokyo, because it will be life-changing. I know some people who have been there and been a little bit intimidated, and it's taken them a few days to actually even get onto the metro. Just give it a go. It's not too bad.
you need to do is go down to the subway. This way is tough, but believe me, it's worth it. Tap the card, take a deep breath, and here we go. The Tokyo subway is one of the busiest in the world. It carries more than 3.5 billion passengers a year, and
I mean, I think actually it might be the busiest one. I know that Shinjuku Station is the busiest station in the world, so
it ranks number 2 in passenger traffic, beaten only by the Beijing subway. At first sight, you
that is incorrect. My understanding is that Shinjuku is the busiest subway in the world.
think you're in hell. You're guaranteed to be shocked right away, but it's getting more interesting from here. You take a closer look and understand there is no chaos at all. The movement is well ordered, everybody lines up neatly. There is a special markup on the floor for this. And
Yeah, there's even like a line for the first train and a line for the next train. So you can line up for the next train if that's not if the first train isn't the first one that you're going to get on, or if you know that the first train is going to be too busy, you can also line up for the second train.
waits patiently for the train. It looks almost like a school assembly. Secondly, at every station there is a metropolitan worker wearing white gloves, the so-called Oshiya, or passenger pusher. Their duties are to control the train departure and help passenger get on a subway car by holding the door.
I've only seen, I mean, the holding of the doors, yes, I've seen that quite often. The pushing, I've been in a train once where I guess the attendant was helping close the door, but I wouldn't say I got to the point where that he was pushing people in.
Doors and
But it does
pushing
happen.
people inside if needed. Let's get on a subway
If
car.
needed.
Here you
Good,
have to
good.
switch the silent mode on. It's inappropriate to talk here.
Yes, it's very quiet. I love it, original sound, because it's so true, it's so quiet.
Many people take advantage of the silence. In the Tokyo subway, some people can't sleep because the trains really do run like clockwork. People here set an alarm and can be absolutely sure that, let's say, at 11:24 sharp, their train will stop at their station.
Yes, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a pro tip. If you have an Apple Watch or a watch or your phone, but I prefer the Apple Watch because it vibrates and it doesn't really make a sound, so it doesn't annoy or bother the people around me. I will set a timer, or I will set an alarm for 2 minutes or 1 minute before my next stop, so I don't have to worry, and my watch will start vibrating and I'll know that it's the next stop. Alternatively, I have started to get to know the different chimes, the different sounds, because each station in Tokyo, on the Yamanote line specifically, has a different chime, a different ring tone of sorts. So you start to get to know them, you know where you are, and some people I've heard subconsciously wake up to the sound of the station that they work at or they have to get out at, which is quite interesting.
And a few more facts about the local subway. Besides regular vacuuming, almost every station has a restroom. Free of charge, of course. And for you to understand who's taking the Tokyo subway, there is a guy standing next to me and he's wearing a Rolex for about 5,000 bucks minimum, I guess. One episode is not enough to cover all features of the local transport. But believe me, Japanese public transport really is the gold standard in every way.
Agree. I agree. I've even when I went to Korea, to a certain point, I thought Korean trains were nicer than the Japanese trains in Seoul, for example. I felt that the trains were nicer than the Tokyo trains. However, the overall package in Tokyo, in Osaka, across Japan is so much nicer, so much better.
Now I'll try shortly tell you about the emotions I felt in the first few hours of being in Tokyo for the first time.
I'm interested in this because
you feel as if you pop into an alternate universe or another world that lives by totally different laws. It seems like there is another civilization in the world that's been developing without any connection to yours.
Because it did. Because the fact of the matter is that Japan sort of, developed for hundreds of years apart from the rest of the world, which is why Japan is so unique in many aspects. And I agree with you. A lot of people ask me, what's Japan like? And I say, it's the closest thing to an alien civilization living on Earth, I would say.
When you come here for the first time, many things appear weird to you. But for me, Tokyo is love at first sight.
Oh, yeah. I love Tokyo. Nice footage.
Whichever
And Shinjuku there.
way you take, it's almost perfectly clean everywhere because streets here are literally washed and brushed, even though there are very few rubbish bins in the city.
Also, I think there's a lot of social responsibility when it comes to trash. In Japan, generally, I've seen people pick up little bits of trash that doesn't even belong to them when crossing the street or going out of their way to make sure that something is in the right place. And in terms of it being clean, generally yes, but I must say that there are some areas of Tokyo, especially the party areas, that get a little bit dirty, and there can be piles of illegal trash in certain zones and areas that aren't really spoken about, but they are there, all right?
Shouldn't throw away the trash, you're expected to take it with you. Smoking in the streets is allowed only at designated spots. And what's most interesting is everyone follows the rule. Tourists dressed up as Pikachu and Super Mario ride cars around the city.
I'm not a big fan of the whole go-karting sort of thing, just because I know that it's going to be a fun activity to do. And I know some of my friends that have traveled to Japan have done it. Would I ever do it? I don't know. I don't think so. Mainly because I know that Japanese people and locals to the area find it to be a nuisance. And I don't really want to be part of something that I know is a nuisance to the local population. Because I know it means that I'll probably never do it. However, as a tourist, you probably don't know and you're going to do it. And maybe I've just spoiled it for you by telling you. And now you might think differently.
At Shibuya, the world's busiest crossing, which can be crossed by about 1,000 of people at the same time, you can run into Freddie Mercury fans taking a walk and newlyweds taking pictures. Everybody reads manga, the Japanese comics,
Yeah, that is true. You do see a lot of people reading manga on the trains, in coffee shops, in lines, in queues. Very true.
Use them. They use more paper than they do for all the toilet paper in the country.
Yeah. I read about that.
A flush toilet has way more buttons than your cell phone does.
Yeah, yeah. Very true. Very true.
Electronics are everywhere. Even construction sites are equipped with decibel counters, not to...
Yeah, I first encountered this in Japan on one of my trips. I saw a decibel counter at a construction site, and it actually said what the maximum it could go was, which was pretty cool.
Exceed the acceptable noise level. Traditionally, in Japan, there is very little space. The buildings are quite dense. That's why the Japanese save space, especially when it comes to parking lots.
Actually, interesting fact, in Japan, there's quite a lot of space. The only thing is that like the majority of the population is in cities and mostly around the coast. The center of Japan is very mountainous also, which I guess could affect the whole space thing. But yeah, the main problem is that everybody wants to live in the same place.
To begin with, here, there are flush parking. Secondly, such two-story parking lots are common here. There are also special rotating circles to help turn a car around.
Yeah, we do have, where I come from in Gibraltar, there are some places, especially in private private estates, that have these circular things to help you turn the car around as a result of not having enough space.
And here's the pinnacle of it all: rotary parking systems. The way the Japanese work out the lack of space sometimes leaves you confused.
That's pretty cool.
Here's a road laid out through a skyscraper. Actually, it's not in Tokyo, but in Osaka. By the way,
yeah, there's all sorts of things like that even in Tokyo, but it is pretty cool.
They do have skyscrapers here, even though about 1,500 earthquakes hit Japan every year.
Yeah, it's a country with the most earthquakes on Earth. Did you know that? The one with the most earthquakes every year.
Another exceptionally popular thing in Japan is vending machines.
Vending machines!
You can find more than 5 million of them. They're just everywhere, literally
They are.
at every step of your way. Machines offer not only hot and cold beverage,
Let's see where this goes, because usually people like to go to the funky and weird vending machines that are actually, in my opinion, less common. But these sort of videos sort of like glamorize them and make it seem as if you can find them everywhere. So let's see where this goes.
toys, etc. But you can also exchange currency here and even rent a power bank. As you can see, they're in demand.
So far so good, yes.
The best thing I found in local vending machines is hot green tea. It's not that hot, but just as hot as it should be.
I love the coffee.
It's perfect. Where has it been all my life? Expensive workforce and land prices in Tokyo create a demand for...
Good, man. He didn't go into the weird vending machines, which I'm very impressed. And as for the comment that he just said was, where has it been my whole life? You will find yourself saying that quite a lot when you're in Japan. Where has it been my whole life?
installing vending machines. For example, 1 square meter in the prestigious Ginza district cost 400,000 bucks. So, if you want to open, let's say, a small 2.5 square meters coffee shop, you've got to be a millionaire, literally.
Wow.
That explains the popularity of vending machines. And if there are no machines, you might run into huge lines. And
There are lines everywhere.
there you are, a line to a restaurant, a line to a street food spot, a line to a hip cafe. And as for this line, it's worth telling more.
Guys, what is this line for?
This is for multicolored sandwich. We're standing all the way from the back there. I think it's been about 40 minutes of it.
I have to say though that there are usually lines, and there are also a lot of restaurants that might not have as long lines. And in my opinion, a lot of these places that have less lines are pretty much the same. I don't know. A lot of these places are just a hype or Instagram spots or whatever.
40 minutes?
Yeah.
That's crazy, guys. Okay, good luck.
If you're a business owner and feel confused now, I feel you. The Japanese really do love something new and bizarre. They are willing to stand in line for hours to get this multicolored sandwich. Needless to say,
I've had it before. I didn't have to queue up.
they're desperate for fashion. Expensive boutiques are a dime a dozen in Tokyo.
I'm guessing that they're walking down Omotesando now, next to Harajuku, I guess.
The Japanese are not just some fashionistas. Their style really suits them. They're just always on fleek. Period.
True, true. Mostly everywhere though.
To show you these show-offs, we're heading to a unique district.
I must say that Harajuku is a cool district. However, at the same time, I would say that it's changed a lot in the last 9-10 years that I've been traveling to Japan. The very first few years, 2014, 2015, I think it was a more quite raw, quite local. Now it feels like it's just very, very crowded with tourists. And also I feel that it's a lot more commercial. There are, like, I think McDonald's, Moss Burgers, etc. Maybe not McDonald's, but definitely a Moss Burger in there. And that wasn't there when it first opened, or when I first went. Yeah, fashion around the area is pretty up class, you know, definitely.
And now, my friends, watch this. These are security guards who watch the line at a clothes store.
Wow. But usually when there's a queue like that, it's because there's some kind of special event going on, some kind of offer. Sometimes maybe even like New Year's gift bags or whatever.
In the Harajuku district, everybody wearing bright colors. Every third person looks like if they just visited the Yoichi Yamamoto fashion show. Like this girl. She's looking like an anime character. The style is called kawaii, which means...
The style is called kawaii? I didn't know that there was a style called kawaii. I know that kawaii is cute generally.
Cute. Pink is a must here. And of course, pets are also often spotted in Tokyo streets.
Oh, look at that doggy. I want one like that. Yeah, this reminds me, there are so many dogs in Japan and they're always very well kept. Sometimes with really nice collars with their own little lights at night. It's pretty cool. And they're always usually very friendly.
Japan is home to 22 million pets and only 17 million kids under 15. Here in Tokyo, it's easier to see a dog than a baby. And finding a kindergarten for dogs in Tokyo is way easier than finding a babysitter for baby. The
Interesting.
pet care industry in Japan is valued at around 10 billion US dollars. Stores for cats and dogs are everywhere. Accessories for pets in Japan are made even by Chanel, Dior and Gucci. And if you're out of town, you
Yeah, actually, now that he mentions it, I've never actually thought about it, but I've actually seen quite a lot of pet stores whilst I've been in Japan.
can just leave your pet at a special hotel for $100 per day. For many Japanese people, pets are as beloved as their kids. They buy clothes for them, take them to dog cafes, and even put a little ladder to help their doggo get in the car.
I have to also, like, the very first time I ever saw somebody like in a pushing a pram like for dogs was in Japan. And now it's becoming more and more common. I'm seeing them here. It's like that sort of like fashion accessory, I don't know, has become common here where I live. Awesome.
Holy moly! Here the phrase "you treat me like a dog" doesn't have a negative meaning. Here treating somebody like a dog stands for the highest level of care, kindness and love. Actually, that's one of the reasons why dog cafes are that popular in Japan. And you
As all sorts of animal cafes, there are pig cafes, there are cat cafes that are very popular, there are, I don't know, ferret cafes, everything you can imagine. Snake cafes.
won't believe it, but people really line up to them. You have to book a session in advance. Half an hour in the cafe will cost you about $10. Here anyone can pet a doggo, take a picture with it, and just have a real dog therapy session. It's a pleasure for both dogs and visitors. Double
And also I found out more recently that these places are very popular because a lot of apartment buildings in Japan, and correct me if I am wrong, this is what what people have told me in Japan, a lot of apartments don't allow pets, and people want pets. So this is like their access to you know, if they can go once, twice a week or once, twice a month to a pet cafe, then they can have some kind of interaction with an animal, because they can't have them in their homes. I do love pets.
As cruel as it might sound,
Pet
a
cafes are
couple
pretty
living in
cool.
Tokyo will find it easier to have a dog rather than a baby. The situation surely has some economic reasons. Life in Tokyo is pretty costly due to the taxes and other expenses. In Japanese society, it's a challenge for a woman to have a baby and stay employed. But look,
Yeah, but a lot of it is also, I'm pretty sure, apart from that fact that he's or mentioning, I think a lot of it is also to do with the rules, with you know, where you rent.
locals are so afraid of losing a job not only because of money, but also because they are full-blooded workaholics. In 2011, Japanese economy, having been the world's second for 40 years straight, was taken over by China. So now they're trying to catch up. People in Japan were like crazy, working overtime for 80 and sometimes even 100 hours a month. For you,
Yeah, Japan has a reputation, or Japanese people have a reputation for overworking. And I know that the Japanese government, in some respects, are trying to fix this problem with overwork, because it can lead to all sorts of health issues, including suicide, unfortunately. But I think that there is still a lot of overwork and work being a priority. I have a friend that came to visit me from Japan, and she only took 3 days off, came all the way to Europe for 5 days, something like that. So
to understand the scale of the problem, I have to tell you about a buzzword that appeared in the Japanese language, karoshi, or deaths from overwork. In 2016, karoshi caused about 200 deaths, and this is only the official data. The Japanese
Wow.
usually use up only 50% of their annual leave, which is only 9 or 10 days a year. Companies
Yeah.
forcibly switch off the lights at 10 p.m. to make workers go home and sleep. The government introduced
yeah, and it's one of the reasons why holiday periods like Golden Week, which is a week at the beginning of May, that usually combines a few public holidays into like a string of public holidays, become so popular and places become so crowded because people don't want to take time off. But that's like a forced holiday period.
so-called Premium Fridays. It means that every last Friday of the month, an employee is allowed to leave work earlier at 3 p.m. And now, what do you think? How many employees did use this option in percent?
Like one.
4, guys. Only 4%. The rest
4%,
continued
wow.
working as they did before. Well, the term working is incorrect here, or rather grinding as they used to. That's why there are so
What did he say?
many sleeping people in the Tokyo subway. They just get awfully exhausted. To be fair, during my visit, lots of Japanese people allowed themselves to have some rest. Hey guys, believe me or not, but just as I arrived in Japan, this sakura started to blossom.
Oh, Sakura in Japan, a magical time, depending where you're going. Can also be the most crowded time to travel to some of those peak areas.
Well, fine, I'm joking, of course. I planned out my trip so that I get to Japan approximately during the period of the cherry blossom. And voila,
But
they did blossom. So guys, let me show you one of the major non-calendar celebration in Japan. The name of this big event is Hanami.
Hanami is flower viewing party, basically. Oh, it's so beautiful. I'm gonna be in Japan at the end of March, and hopefully, if I'm lucky, I'll get some of these pretty trees. Wow. That's Ueno Park, I'm pretty sure. Very nice.
Hanami is a quite short-term feast which lasts about 7 to 10 days, and you've got to be lucky to come on time and witness it. So every
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a tip here, and that is if you have the extra time and you definitely want to see the sakura, the cherry blossoms, then you really need to come to Japan probably in the middle, aiming to arrive in the middle of March and aiming to leave, you know, after the first week of April. That sort of period will be the period where you will most probably see them.
year for each region of Japan, they make separate forecast maps
yes,
indicating
depending
the
on where
time
in
and place
Japan you're
of the
going to.
sakura blossoming for each region individually.
That's Meguro. As you walk down this river in Meguro, I believe this is, there are lots of little places selling champagne and strawberries, and it's really nice.
Of course, the cherry blossom season doesn't put the life of the Japanese on hold, not at all. But it's like a short pit stop to recharge your batteries after your crazy race at work, to meditate upon the eternal, and to admire the waterfall, parks and gardens.
Oh, I'm getting really excited. I'm actually traveling back to Japan next week, well, in 8 days to be precise. And I'll be there over New Year's. But watching this is getting me really excited already for spring.
Some of them are just covered in sakura trees, and when the sun comes out and the sky turns from gray into blue, it's a thrill for sure.
It is magical, yeah. But it's only magical, in my opinion, when you get it all to yourself. If you go to some of these places that are packed with hundreds of people, it's a whole different thing. So do your research. There are lots of spots across the city that are less crowded, and if not, you can always leave the city and head for less crowded places outside of Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, etc.
I'm feeling like writing a haiku. Too bad I can't, but you can make up something in the comments. Oh gosh, what a cheap trick. Never mind.
Good one, good one.
Another special thing about Hanami is the Japanese tradition of gathering under the trees, eating, drinking and having fun.
Yeah.
Long story short, for the Japanese, the cherry blossom period is like the May Day celebrations for Ukrainians, but without barbecue and with way less alcohol. I understand that now, looking at these pictures, it's hard to believe it.
With way less alcohol? I don't know, man. I've seen plenty of alcohol going on, like during Hanami, to be honest.
But I shoot this on weekday, and now let me show you the crowds around
that's more
sakura
like
trees
it.
on weekends.
And after work also.
So many people, it's buzzing here. Everybody's talking, people are cheering, drinking and just having fun. Well,
It is a
now,
friendly time,
a celebration indeed.
Exciting.
That's so sweet. Traditions are tradition, of course. The Japanese always take off their shoes when they come inside, and even though it's just a piece of cheap blue tarpaulin, they still take off their shoes.
It's true. Also, what he was mentioning before about not drinking because it was the middle of the week, for example, I know that some workers from companies, their job is to find a space and to reserve a space all day so that after work people can go from the workplace to have drinks. So maybe had he explored like after work, he would have seen a lot more drinking during the week.
So cute. Look at these lines of shoes. Such a cozy atmosphere. And that's really cool. The atmosphere is like, pour me a drink, I'll chug it down. Back
Yeah.
then my romanticist batteries were still full, but a few days later the place was packed like a can of sardines, and that really looked like a May Day celebrations in Ukraine.
Wow, yeah.
And now, my friends, I'm going to show you the line to the main park of the blooming cherry, because
I mean, to be honest, so far, I mean, the title was something about it being weird. So far, there's nothing weird about this video whatsoever, right?
There are over 1,500 sakura trees here. The park is called Shinjuku-gyoen National
Oh,
Garden.
yeah. Guys, it all depends on what time you arrive and whether it's a weekend. Don't go during the weekend. Arrive nice and early. And also, the park is great for the late blooming sakura. So if you feel that you've arrived a little bit late and you feel that you think you've missed out on the main sakura, Shinjuku Gyoen Park or National Garden will most definitely have some sakura blooming, late blooming sakura.
As you understand, it's just a part of the line. And the other part of it is just out of sight. And is one of the 4 lines leading only to the park entrance. I'm just making it clear that if you're planning to see sakura trees in Tokyo, get ready for long lines and enormous crowds of people with cell phones.
Yeah, maybe this is why I recommend that you find other places to visit outside of Tokyo. It's probably worth that extra money on the Shinkansen to go somewhere else.
A new place I managed to visit this time in Tokyo was the Borderless project by TeamLab.
Okay, so this is definitely old because the Borderless is closed down, but the great thing is that Borderless is reopening, I think, next month. So that's going to be really exciting because I love this place. There is currently one called Planets, which is open for the next few years, and I also recommend that one.
I had to stand in line for 40 minutes just to get there and see it, but it was worth it. The project is made of huge halls with professionally made light installations. I've seen some in other countries, but this one, surely number one.
Yeah. Yeah, that waterfall installation was magical.
I guess you can spend the whole day here. There are plenty of different rooms.
If you can find the way out, that is.
But I picked out the 2 coolest ones to show you. The first one is a room with spotlights.
Wow.
To get into the second one,
Oh yeah, the lamp one
it
is
took me
really good.
another 30 minutes of standing in line.
Very cool. I love this place. I recommend it.
The Japanese are just great at technology, as always. Okay guys, this time I picked out fantastic place to stay called Capsule Hotel. I was staying at 4 different ones, so I've got something to share, but I'll make another episode about this. And now I would like to show you the apartments in which not tourists, but the Japanese themselves live. Masha, whom I accidentally meet in Tokyo, will help me out with this.
Interesting fact, and that is that I have never stayed in a capsule hotel.
Of course I couldn't help but ask for invitation.
Wow. Это просто подъезд такой?
In all honesty, I thought the apartment would be a little smaller. The price of such one-room apartment in a decent neighborhood is $1,800 per month. There is no central heating in Japanese apartments, but they're equipped with air conditioning and underfloor heating. I saw Japanese bathtubs for the first time in my life in Masha's apartment. You already know about Japanese high-tech toilets, but speaking of bathtubs, were
Yeah, the bathtubs are known to be quite technological, also keeping the water, basically running the water themselves, stopping the water flow so that it doesn't overflow, and also keeping the water hot for you, which is pretty cool.
a first time for me.
Ты выставляешь температуру воды?
Да, тут можно выставить температуру воды, и вот 7 минут, это она будет набираться. Когда она наберется через 7 минут, она тетенька мне опять скажет, что ванна готова, идите плавать.
And once again, you fill a bath tube and then leave it for, let's say, an hour to do something while it automatically maintains the temperature.
Yeah.
How's that, Elon Musk? As usual, we talked about everyday life, and Masha showed me a Japanese book.
Котячих яйцах. Это я ездила на остров котиком.
I want that. That book looks pretty cool. I would love that. I would love to gift that to a friend of mine.
Фотографы любят таким заниматься. Видите, какие красавицы.
Didn't I tell you that the Japanese adore their pets in every possible way? By the way, Masha gave me a copy of these books, so now I keep this funny thing in my studio. Listen, I'm not a food blogger and I rarely show you food. First, I don't have time for this. Secondly, I don't care that much about food stuff. But here in
What? Food in Japan is amazing, dude.
Tokyo, it would be a sin not to show you
Yes,
food.
it would be a
Today,
sin.
I'm going to show you one of the best ramen spots in Tokyo.
Where?
And
Come on.
the line to it.
Ah.
I thought I finally could go eat, but nope. Here's a second line.
Ichiban ramen, in my opinion, is a little bit overrated, to be honest. Well, it's just like full of tourists. There are so many ramen stores across Tokyo, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, that will be equally as good, or if not better, with less lines.
I've been waiting for half an hour already. This damn ramen better be straight fire.
Ooh, ramen. Ooh,
Here's a regular machine. You pick out an option and insert money.
Can you help me?
This is just crazy. Another line even after I got a ticket.
It's free. Yeah, it's free. Vacancy.
Here's a special display showing available seats.
Ah,
The
wow,
red ones are
pretty cool.
occupied. There are many available seats, but I can't understand why I
Very
can
cool,
have a
very
seat.
cool.
And I'm still not eating.
I've only been once to this chain of restaurants. Only once ever. Never again, I don't think.
All in all, it looks like a computer club for real. The only difference is that they are eating ramen instead of beating their enemies in Counter-Strike.
I guess people like the whole unique, the appeal of it being like a stall for yourself, a very private affair, you know. It looks good though. That looks like good
I ordered
ramen.
ramen without pork, but it turned out ramen can't go without pork. So I got meatless ramen. So what do we have? I've
Why?
been waiting for over an hour just to slurp noodles. By the way, those were the most delicious noodles ever. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
I headed to the districts of flashy science and electronic stuff called Akihabara. It's a gamer's den, and
I love Akihabara. Who doesn't love Akihabara? Akihabara is a great place to check out.
here you can
definitely.
literally immerse into the atmosphere of the 90s. Yo-Yo
That
is
Sega
still
store
alive
doesn't
here,
exist
and
anymore.
what's more, they even hold Yo-Yo championships. Judging by
Wow,
this guy's
cool.
skills, he practices every day. The Japanese in general adore games. You run into video game commercials at every corner. No wonder it's Tokyo that has a retro game store. This store
Yeah, there are so many stores like this in this area. It's so cool.
brings old school to life.
Super potato? Wow.
Here you can buy any games from 90s you want. And here
This video is like 10 videos in one. I swear, he could have just done a video about Super Potato. He could have just done one video about ramen, etc. It's pretty cool though. But I feel like this video is like loads of things in one video. Really long
just
video.
imagine, they sell cartridges, new and sealed, $20 for one, and somebody surely buys them. Akihabara also hosts an owl cafe. Here you
Yeah.
can see various funny owls and even pet
There are
them.
owl cafes all across Tokyo also.
Most of the time, owls are staring at something. But if you call them Tarase, Oleksiyu, look at me, they react.
Nice.
Long story short, owls are real cuties. It's 5:30 am. I'm leaving Tokyo in 90 minutes, and as ill luck would have it, the sun came out, the weather is perfect, and I thought I just couldn't help but treat you with the view of stunning Tokyo in the morning.
Let's see what the view is.
So,
Oh, really cool. Interestingly, flying a drone normally not allowed. Very cool. Nice drone shots there. It's so pretty with the light. This guy has a good eye. He really knows what he's doing when it comes to camera work. And I'm really enjoying this video actually, because I love the way that he's sort of like explaining his trip and giving some interesting facts. Juicy B-roll. Maybe a little bit too much B-roll.
I wish you to visit it at least once in your life.
More than once here. Where are you going, dude? Where are you going, dude?
So, now it's time to see what Japan is like beyond Tokyo.
Yay, finally. I mean, Tokyo is amazing. I absolutely adore the city. But I always say you need to get out of Tokyo to explore and experience some of the other things, the other side of Japan. Mount Fuji! Kawaguchiko. Alright, I have a video lined up on my trip to Kawaguchiko, so check that one out soon in the very near future.
You see, local taxi cabs are just a perfect example of making you feel at home. Look at this. Beautiful embroidered covers. Handmade. Just check this out.
Yeah, yeah.
And here it is, the pagoda.
Oh. Alright, about this pagoda, I didn't know there were so many steps to go up. Oh my god, it nearly killed me, I swear. There's a lot of B-roll in this. There we have it. I can finally say I've been there. After 20 trips traveling across Japan, I can finally say I went there just 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago. Wow. That's a good picture. Very good, very nice. If you get there at the right time, it's amazing.
It's perhaps the best known Japanese pagoda and probably the most famous view of Japan. And the main symbol of the country is somewhere over here, hidden in the clouds.
Yeah, Japan, Mount Fuji is known as a shy mountain. A lot of people don't get to see it.
This is how Mount Fuji looks 260 days a year. To see it against a clear blue sky is like winning some money in the lottery. And today is not my day. Yet another misfortune. The trees you see in the foreground are sakura trees. Yeah, that's a pity. We're about 150 kilometers or even less from Tokyo, but it's a week colder here, so that's why sakura buds haven't bloomed yet here.
Not
and
yet,
now,
maybe a week later.
the most interesting thing. Mount Fuji, also known as Fujiyama, is the most sacred peak in Japan because it's the highest one, about 3,700 meters. It is a low-level volcano. The last time it erupted was in 18th century, and this caused a big bada boom back then.
Can you imagine how scary that would be?
And this big bada boom is privately owned. The peak belongs to a Shinto shrine. Not the best asset, to be honest.
He was so lucky being able to find the taxi in Kawaguchiko because getting a taxi in Kawaguchiko is so freaking difficult.
After riding our taxi cabs back home with seat covers so that you don't get the back seats dirty with your jeans, sitting on snow white seats in Japan is like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
While we're on our way to the hotel, I decided to check out one more place. This thing was invented by the Japanese. It exists in some other countries as well, but was done best in Japan. I said that it is
What is it? What is it?
genius when I saw what I'm about to show you for the
What
first
is
time.
it?
No
What
more
is
spoilers,
it?
just check these out.
I want to
It's
know, what
nuts.
is it?
Just listen.
Oh. That's pretty cool. I mean, there's a lot of videos on YouTube about this very thing, but I didn't know there was one there. That's pretty cool. I don't think I would like get a taxi specifically to listen to it, but that's pretty cool. Oh my god, he opened the door? And the taxi driver didn't freak out?
Applause. Now we'll make a U-turn and give it a listen one more time.
That's really cool, actually.
The coolest thing here is that it's not just an attraction, but a speed limit device, because you can only hear the melody if your speed is 40 to 45 kilometers per hour.
Okay,
the faster
okay,
you
okay.
drive, the weaker the sound. This genius thing was made up by a Japanese guy. He was an excavator driver, and he accidentally scrubbed the road with a scoop. And then
Interesting. Would people really care? I don't know. I think here in the West, people wouldn't really care. They'd listen to it once at the 45-kilometer speed limit, and then they'll be like, done it.
And he realized that the road made a sound as he drove along it. This melody road is simply markings on the road surface, cut at different intervals from one another. That's it. Simple, but genius. Well done, Japan.
Oh my god, yeah.
If you hear a faint voice, just know that in small towns in Japan, at least those I've been to, for example in Fukushima, there are quite a lot of loudspeakers. As far as I understand, it's an earthquake and tsunami safety alert system, which by
Yeah, there are, and at times they do the emergency alert sort of like test thingy, which can freak you out if you're not ready for it. But yes, there are speakers all across Japan, not only for tsunami and for earthquake alerts, for all sorts of emergency broadcasts, but also as a sign. They play a melody for children, I think at 5:30 or 5 p.m. So that they know that the sun is coming down and they should go home.
the way happen up to 1500 times a year. And here it is. It's so loud, the whole town can hear it. I quickly checked in at a local hotel where I was going to stay overnight. This is the view from the window. As you already figure out, taking a taxi in Japan is too expensive, so I had to use a less comfortable means of transport that the hotel offered me for free. It started
Yeah, to be honest, like cycling across Kawaguchiko, you know, cycling around the lake by bicycle, obviously cycling, is one of the best ways.
snowing. So much about the sakura.
Nice 360 cam.
Since all these bikes are designed for the Japanese who are not as tall, it's impossible to pull up the seat even higher. So I'm looking like a total weirdo riding this bike. My knees are almost reaching my ears.
Okay. I've never felt uncomfortable riding a bicycle in Japan. Maybe I'm not tall enough. Ooh. He's really giving us a whole tour, isn't he?
All in all, it took me almost 2 hours to get to the forest. And as you may have
Oh,
guessed,
right.
it is not a usual forest. It is called Aokigahara in Japanese, but you
Why?
probably know its other name.
Why do you want to go there, dude? Why? I don't understand people's I honestly, let me know, why would you want to go there? Out of curiosity. You know, the whole like controversial YouTuber in the past, Logan Paul, was it? He went there, he filmed a body, etc, etc, etc. It's just not my cup of tea. Now, there's things around the area. I'd love to visit those things. It's horrible, horrible. No. This is horrible.
And this place is the second most popular site in the world to commit suicide, after the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco.
This is like, it's so sad, man. Just the thought of why, you know, it makes me so sad. I'm really actually upset watching this. Your life is a priceless gift your parents gave you. Think about them and your family. You don't have to suffer in silence. Call us. This is really upsetting me. Really. Just to think that somebody
There are special public
gets
service
to that
members
point,
who
you know?
walk around the forest searching for bodies, and they regularly find them. Fortunately, a lot of people come here, camp for a few days, think about life and death, and then leave. And of course, it's great. They leave their tents and some personal stuff here. There is a lot of this stuff in the forest.
I don't get why you're here, dude.
Seems like I saw a tent. I want to check whether it's tent or something else. This place is
An
really
umbrella.
gloomy, but perhaps it's because of the weather. As I was approaching the forest, I saw a car. It may have been a car accident, or maybe somebody left it. People often leave cars here, those who come here with no plans of returning, just abandon their cars right here. I don't know, maybe that's the case with this car.
I'm just going to stop here and I'm just going to say, if anybody is in a very dark place and you feel that there is no way out, I just want to remind you that there is a way out, and that, you know, you've probably been in a dark place before. You've come out of it, you've come out the other end, and there are plenty of places and hotlines that you can contact. Please, please, please go and find some help, because your life is very precious.
I would go farther in the forest, but the snow is getting heavier, it got much colder, and it gets dark in an hour. So, let's get out of here.
Why? Seriously, that was completely unnecessary, in my opinion. Completely unnecessary part of the video.
Jesus Christ. How am I supposed to get back? After you see people celebrating snow, you realize something might be wrong with your country. Well, guys, it really sucks. I've just tried to unlock my phone with Face ID, and after 30 seconds, I realized it was a bad idea. Even
It looks cold, dude.
I wouldn't recognize myself now. It's been snowing all night long, but in the
Oh, that
morning,
looks so
the sky was
beautiful.
absolutely clear. It means I was so damn lucky to find Mount Fuji on one of
Yeah.
only 70 days in a year when it's not hidden behind clouds. And of
Yeah.
course, I took advantage of this. My hand
Actually, the best time to see Mount Fuji is in the winter, usually. And usually in the morning also. It's the best time to see Mount Fuji.
got frostbitten. It's 2 degrees Celsius below zero in the morning. Everything around got snowed in overnight, but it was worth it.
Wow. So beautiful. Wow. Yeah. Every single time I see the mountain, I've been to the top, I've climbed the top, but seeing it from afar on a beautiful day like this, it's just so wow. I can't wait to share my Mount Fuji video with you.
This peaceful mountain with the blue sky in the background, which you've seen thousands of times in pictures, is
Yeah, it's in person, it's so majestic, and it's just so like, wow. Oh,
hypnotizing. I was
Yeah,
looking at it
hypnotizing.
while I was
I
waiting for
agree.
a car, then while going to the station, and even while I was waiting for a bus. Fuji held on to me too tightly, but
Yeah.
I had to keep moving to show you a different Japan. It's time to see the second capital of Japan. I mean, the former capital called Kyoto.
Kyoto! Another favorite location of mine is definitely Kyoto. I never get bored of going. I love walking the streets. In many ways, I find that Kyoto is like a nice escape from Tokyo, even though it's still crowded.
Kyoto is the exact opposite of Tokyo. Here you won't find skyscrapers or the crazy rhythm the capital lives in. It is the traditional Japan many of us know from books and Akira Kurosawa's movies.
Yeah. But Kyoto is having this tourism issue, and a lot of the main spots that are so beautiful are only accessible, or less crowded, better said, in the mornings or in the evenings when the tourist crowds have disappeared. But it's still an incredible city. It just has a different vibe. I've used this music before. I love the way he's capturing things. It reminds me a lot of what I try to do and fail at miserably.
In Kyoto, wherever you look, there is a temple. There are more than 2,000 temples here. Even a whole week wouldn't be enough to visit them all.
Wow, with the snow. This music is really nice.
There are also lots of classic Japanese buildings that go back centuries, and they are all in pristine condition.
Yeah, walking the streets of Kyoto is so special. I've mentioned it now for the last 5 minutes, but walking the streets of Kyoto is so nice, so calming, and it does really feel like you are taking a step back in time.
It's a miracle that all these architectural masterpieces survived until nowadays, because Kyoto was on top of the list of cities that US planned to drop nuclear bomb on.
Oh wow,
but the
can you
advisor
imagine?
to the American Commission, who was responsible for the list, spent his honeymoon in Kyoto. So he decided to remove Kyoto from the bombing list and added Nagasaki
Wow.
instead. This is
Can you imagine what a tragedy that would have been had Kyoto been bombed? And also at the same time, it makes you think what treasures some of the, Hiroshima and Nagasaki had that we have lost.
how Kyoto avoids such a terrible fate. Because of this, now anyone can get a glimpse of traditional Japan in Kyoto. The local streets are filled with girls in kimonos. Moreover, about 300 geisha still work here. There are some ancient districts, and local sakura trees are probably blooming even more spectacularly than in Tokyo. So, if you want to feel the spirit of old Japan,
Yeah, I'm just in love with watching this video. I'm really enjoying it. It really does capture all the things that I love about Japan, although through the lens of somebody who's only been, I think, 2 or 3 times, which is still quite nice. But yeah, I'm really, really vibing with this video. It really reminds me of why I like traveling to Japan so much. Thank you for making this.
go to Tokyo. I'd like to show you 2 beautiful places in Kyoto. We're
Okay.
heading to one of them while following these modest Japanese girls in kimonos.
Arashiyama bamboo forests. Good luck if you're able to actually take picture without anybody in the background, unless you go super early. I mean, pointing the camera up, you are gonna get these pictures, obviously. But if you pan down, I'm sure there's hundreds of people there. That's quite
Bamboo
dark,
can
so
grow up to a few centimeters just in 1 hour. Even though this grove is not that old, you're always walking with your head up. What's more, bamboo makes a specific noise and swings in the wind. Just listen.
It's a pretty cool place.
I had to get up very early in the morning to show you the next place. This is one of the most famous temples in Kyoto.
Yes, you have to get up really early if you really want to get those beautiful photos. Because if you don't, then it's like Disneyland. Fushimi Inari. I'm loving this. I've said it a million times already, but I love the way it's shot. I like the way it's all put together. I try to put videos like this together, but people just don't watch them. People aren't interested. But I guess that if you have a big subscriber base like he does, people will watch it.
I ask for happiness and wealth for all of us.
Thank you for for that prayer.
But my handwriting sucks, so I apologize in advance. I decided to close the chapter of Kyoto on tatami and in some traditional interiors. Ryokan is a type of traditional Japanese house.
Ryokan.
This one was adapted to be a hotel. I am staying here today.
Interestingly, my friend who is traveling to Japan in 2 days' time will be staying in that ryokan. Surprisingly.
Please change your shoes.
My socks. It's important that you do take some nice socks with you for these reasons, you know, like
Arigato. Arigato.
arigato.
The Japanese are so cute. Let's take a look at what we have here.
Wow, nice. That is definitely a common, simple, not luxury tatami room that I would very much like to stay in.
It's unlikely to see the shopping mall from a window of a traditional Japanese hotel, but it's a modern Japanese hotel, so things happen.
Nice. The yukata. What?
I guess it's going to be the shortest feedback of all I ever given on a country. Your first visit to Japan is unforgettable. All my
Yeah. Agree. Your first visit to Japan is unforgettable. Agree 100%.
friends who have ever visited Japan told me that the first time you feel like you're in Wonderland. These are emotions of a lifetime, and it would be great if you added Japan to your traveling bucket list. This is
I agree. Please add Japan to your traveling bucket list, and please check out my main channel, which is Ninja Monkey, where I have a lot of different itineraries, tips and guides to put you at ease, to make you a more confident traveler around Japan. I do completely recommend traveling to Japan.
an absolutely wonderful and astonishing country. It's truly amazing. Every step you take, it amazes you. I hope you're learning something interesting from this episode, something
thank you.
didn't know about Japan. So, after visiting Japan for the third time, I realized that
Ah,
even the
third
third
time, you
time
said.
is
Okay,
not the
okay.
last. This
Even the third time is not the last. I wonder if he's been back since. One little comment I was going to say on what he's just said, and that is that when you go to Japan for the very first time, you are like in Wonderland, and that is that because you are in Wonderland, because you are so like blown away, and there are so many different visual things and different scents and sounds. It also means that your guard can come down, and it means that you are more likely to leave things behind, your wallet, your bag, etc. And although Japan is an incredibly safe country, you still need to be street smart and you still need to be careful.
Country definitely has more to show, and as usual, it lies beyond the cities.
Yeah,
So, kampai.
as usual it does.
Go travel.
Beyond the cities.
It's worth
Thanks.
it. And drink green tea. It's especially
Awesome.
tasty in Japan.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you. That was a pretty cool video. A little bit of a long video, I'm not going to lie. Never done such a long reaction. So if you're still watching, or if you watched this in 2 or 3 parts, then thank you so much. I do like watching these sort of videos. It's interesting to see people's, thoughts and opinions on traveling to Japan the first, the second, the third time. I love seeing what they get up to and some little tidbits of facts that I might not know myself. I know a lot about traveling around Japan, obviously, but I'm always searching for new pieces of information and inspiration. So yeah, great. Don't forget to check out his video and his channel and everything that he does. And please subscribe to Happy Gaijin and give this video a like. Thank you all for watching. Stay positive and be a happy gaijin. And I guess I'm going to do the fist bump again. What? Am I getting better? I think I'm getting a little bit better at that. Bye.